montage, Yahoo, Phantom of the Forest, you Spear Finger, Fire Dragon, Ohio Grassman, Silver Giant, Bloodless Howler, West Virginia Vampire, Coyote King, Hogzilla, Devil, Dark Coyote Killer. Cave creature, Mothman, Smoke Wolf, a Lizard Demon, Ashman, Grafton Monster, Cow-killing Bastard, Shadow Creature, Dustman, Cherokee Death Cat, Wild Man, Great Fire Rape. What else do I have to say? Steal yourself some chicken wire, and I'll get some lumber. Catch the Thunder Brothers. Don't you dare get out of the golf cart. We can keep our big seats while we hunt the big feet. Snarly Gastro Team, Red Island Bear Beast, Silver Giant, Squalling Savage, Black Wolf was kind of average, Stone Giant, Raven Mocker, Midnight Whistler, Wampus Beast, Wawa Woman, Ohio Grassman again. Technically Huckleberry Wolfman or Wolf County, need to find the X again if we hunt the Lightning Man. Webster's Werewolf, Daily Howl, Kentucky Hellhound, Little Girl, Headless Horror, I can't take it anymore. Steal yourself some chicken wire, and I'll get some lumber. Catch the Thunder Brothers. Don't you dare get out of the golf cart. We can keep our big seats while we hunt the big feet.
This here's BIGFEETS, the only Mountain Monsters watch-along podcast. I'm Robert Brockway, and in lieu of a clever introduction, I'd just like for you to remember all my best moments. A montage of all the times I've used my catchphrases, and then maybe just mentally end with like a really heartwarming moment that makes you go, aw.
And I'm Sean Baby. The prospect of being reunited with Voyo when I got home, if that is, I got home, put me in a good mood. He had always referred to me as his Jewish brother. And in fact, later on, Voyo and I did meet up again in Los Angeles when Voyo had landed himself a job as a bodyguard for Sylvester Stallone. Not only that, but Voyo had appeared on the big screen as well in Rambo 2. He played the Russian Spetsnaz, Soviet Special Forces soldier Rambo fights in the helicopter. During the filming, Voyo shouted at Stallone to punch him for real. His intensity spooked Big and Little Tony, Stallone's other bodyguards, enough to make them draw their weapons on Voyo. Do not ask if you can punch Sylvester Stallone. His bodyguards will pull their guns on you.
And I am New York Times bestselling author Jason Pargin.
So they pulled their guns on him because he said, hit me, the stuntman, for real.
Yes. Yeah.
I want you to hit me. And they're like, I'm going to fucking kill this guy.
Yes. That's the story from notorious truth teller Frank Dukes.
with his Russian brother, stunt brother. Amazing. I can't wait. I can't wait until we get to the magic parts of that book where he learns actual magic and studies how to disappear using only socks with the ancient Navajo.
How many books did he write?
Just the one, I think.
Just the one, but it's a fucking banger, apparently.
Yeah, it's
Can you
good.
imagine, as an author, a mic drop that hard, and then you just step out. You just step out. It's like, no, here you go.
This has to be after Bloodsport. I can't imagine the fucking audacity to not just do the mic drop and then disappear after Bloodsport. Like that's what separates me from Frank Dukes as a con artist. Is I would achieve Bloodsport and I would have been like, that's it, boys. Like fucking gotcha. I'm going to live on an island. I can't believe you made a movie out of that. Holy shit.
Yeah, we make fun, but it's like one of the greatest human achievements is Bloodsport.
It's getting the con through. It's making the movie whip ass and like stand up years later. It's launching Van Damme's career. I can't believe you got all that with the grift and then you stuck around and were like, I'm going to keep going. Like no, you got to get out. You got to get out you got to get out on the high point, man.
There's a saying among sports meatheads that banners fly forever. And what it means is if your team made a bunch of bad moves long term, but it resulted in a championship this year, then it does matter because banners fly forever. Do you see what I'm saying? Like you did that one great thing. No matter how badly we screw it up for the next 10 years, nobody's going to care. That's the Frank Dukes way. Like it's like, hey, I've done the ultimate thing that a human can do. Now I'm just going to screw around for a while. Because banners fly forever. Bloodsport, you can't take it away from me. It will always exist.
Fights forever, man.
1,000 years from now, people will still be watching Bloodsport long after you've forgotten about all of my weird interviews I did with Ninja podcasts.
I hate that he's right. He's absolutely right.
Yeah.
Somehow this still isn't a Frank Dukes podcast. We're getting there.
Little by little. Closer and closer every time.
It's getting there. Before we get into what this actually is, let's do our plugs. How about you, Jason?
Yeah, I've just finished the book tour for the newly released. I'm starting to worry about this Black Box of Doom. If I didn't make it to your city, very sorry. We had limited time and limited budget. Basically, it was just this house and then the one bookstore in downtown Nashville I went to. So the rest of you asking, when am I going to come to Europe? Just sit tight. It all depends on how well this brand new book sells. It just came out this week.
How about you, Sean?
Oh, I'd like to plug 1-900hotdog.com. It's our comedy website where we pay human writers to do jokes every day like the good old days. For an example of what I write about there, I just turned in an article called The Fart Video, which was a 10-minute VHS tape where a madman describes farts 18 different ways. And that's it. I somehow wrote 4,000 words about that. I don't want to confuse this with FART the movie or FART the movie, which was a different FART the movie. So I've done not all of the articles I write about fart videos, but I have written about Fart the movie and the fart video. So you can get that at 1-900hotdog.com.
More than 1% of your catalog is about farts and fart videos. Just great. Great stuff. Great work we're doing there. I'll plug our other podcast, Dog Zone 9000. It's like this, but without all the pesky Jason Pargent.
Usually.
Sometimes.
There's like 1%. 1% Jason Pargent. Maybe a little bit higher. Go check that out. And if you support us at 1-900hotdog at patreon.com/1-900hotdog, you will also get access to hundreds of bonus episodes that we do on that podcast as well. So we do appreciate it. What we're doing right now is a Mountain Monsters watch along. Mountain Monsters is like, I don't even know what it is anymore. We're in a flux period, man, where we're discovering ourselves. It used to be about Bigfoot. It used to be about a bunch of hillbillies getting out of their truck, walking, I want to say 7 feet off of the highway and going, there's Bigfoot, and fist fighting nothing. And then hoping that it looked cool on camera. It did not.
No.
Now it's like the new Mission Impossible, but with hillbillies and kind of about Bigfoot.
It's like an escape room.
Yeah, it's like a spy thriller a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't want to spoil anything. But when I was first like vetting episodes before we started BIGFEETS, after we had done just like our podcast on Mountain Monsters on the Dog Zone, we just did a couple of episodes thinking, that's it. We'll never talk about this again. How young we were. When I was vetting that, I skimmed ahead a couple of episodes, and there's only one episode I skimmed through that is beyond this point where we're at now. As I saw like the Thunder Brothers and the Axe, and I was like, yeah, absolutely, this is the rest of my life. But the episode I saw beyond this, I don't know how we're going to get there, but I'm starting to get inklings. It was they were doing a full Saw thing. There was like a guy in a full hillbilly Saw mask. On a TV in an empty barn, and they had walked in and he was giving them Bigfoot puzzles. I think he challenged them to a Bigfoot race. And I was like, fucking, I can't wait to see how we're going to get here. Like, I think we're just starting to see how we get there with our last couple of episodes. But that's not what we're doing right now. Right now, we're going to lose all of our momentum and do a clip show.
Yes, because the way this worked out is they did their 2-part season finale. Would have been the season 4 finale in the original airing, the season 2 finale in the HBO Max order, in which really left like in mid-sentence almost, them getting a creepy phone call from this mysterious anti-Ames Bigfoot, this rival Bigfoot hunting team. Not the Bigfoot hunters, the evil Bigfoot hunters they ran into in the Phantom of the Forest episode. This is a totally separate and distinct group of Bigfoot hunters that they encountered in separate weeks. So just as their universe is filthy with Big Feet, it apparently is also just infested with evil rival Bigfoot teams, which I've not personally run into any, but I don't travel in the same circles as these guys. So when they left off on that cliffhanger in the original airing, and it's like, oh my gosh, this guy called. It's like, Trapper, you ready to make a deal? They went off the air for a year. And then when they come back, I'm pretty confident, if I remember correctly, the new episode, they begin with, yeah, we never did hear from those guys. But we did not want to proceed right to the next season because in the original airing, one, there was that long gap, which I wanted to kind of simulate with Big Feets, because it's during that gap, as we saw with like a show like Severance, that the fans can let the show marinate and think of all the fan theories and pick apart all the clues and the Easter eggs that they didn't notice. Like that off period is when you really dig in and think about the show.
Squatch body.
So originally they ran 3 consecutive episodes that were just clip shows. One called Scariest Moments, which is extremely funny. So I tried to imagine genuine scary moments from the show. And the next one's called Best of Bigfoot. So we decided, even though these are clip shows of recycled material, we're going to cover them because you should also have to wait a little bit, just as the fans did the first time.
Yeah, it feels right that you have recycled material also, except for, here's the thing, we're not that lazy, so we're actually going to go back through them and talk about them again and make new observations. It occurred to me before we did this that the way we should cover this is we should just do our own clip show. We'll just take a week off. We'll do a clip episode. And then I started thinking, like, Jesus Christ, the work that would take to go through all of our episodes and listen to everything, pull out the best bits and try to match them up with whatever they pull out from like their clip show bits. It's like, this is across how many hours of TV? It turned out they don't know what a clip show is. Because what they did was just like summed up a bunch of episodes. They would just be like, our scariest moments of all time. And then they'd be like, here's the whole Hellhound episode. We're just going to give you a bunch of clips summarizing that. So we actually could have done the clip show that way. It would not have been that much work.
Well, I think as we watched this, one way to think about it with fresh eyes is that now that we've learned from the Phantom of the Forest episode that what the Ames team hates more than anything is illegal hunting, and how passionate they are being against poachers, crossing private property, hunting outside of season, using unapproved equipment. And I think now going back and seeing this recap and kind of applying that logic to each of the hunts and see, has it always been apparent that they are that passionate about following regulations when it comes to hunting creatures that, to be fair, are not on the books as things that you can hunt.
It's pretty easy to get a death cat permit.
They also did a very recent retcon. One is that, poaching is the worst, and it's the laws of hunting that are sacred to us. The other one is we're out to save Bigfoot, which that is, I don't think that one holds up. Maybe I'm going to look the fool going back through these clip shows, and if I had been paying attention, I would have seen it was always Nerf guns. They were out here just to tag Bigfoot and release him back into the wild. It must be. I don't know. We'll find out as I watch these and talk about them live with you. We're starting with episode 21 of season 2 of the HBO Max Order. Speaking of, if you want to watch that, go watch it, because they removed season 1. They're about to remove season 2. Maybe I think it'll
be gone by the time this airs.
Yeah, I think it's probably gone by the time this airs. Too fucking late. Watch ahead, I guess. I don't know. I'm fairly confident they are just deleting them forever as they go. Like you'll never see them again.
It is still on the Travel Channel website because I went and checked.
There's still a Travel Channel website? That feels like an oversight. Nobody tell them. Nobody tell them that they still have that website up. They're gonna write that off for like $40 in tax. So we're watching episode 21. Episode 20, Scariest Moments, and then we're going to watch episode 21, Best of Bigfoot.
Extremely important that you not confuse these two things, Robert. The first one is a list of scary hunts.
Scary.
The second one is the best big feet they've hunted.
I was so excited when they said our scariest moments. I was really thinking they were gonna put in the full effort of a clip show, which is to say, the medium, the format that other shows use to take a day off. They did not put in the effort that other shows used to take a day off. I was really hoping it was going to be like every single time Jeff went, aye!
Just a pants pissing montage.
Any other show would do it.
He has one ready to go. They're like, guys, do you want my pants? I noticed you doing scariest moments. I got this montage of me pissing my pants. I got footage you haven't even seen yet.
They mentioned during that the opening sizzle reel, the announcer who I think has pitched his voice down a bit for this.
Yeah, he's doing something different.
To do scary, and it ends with, "Don't watch alone." Now, let me ask both of you. Which would upset you more? If you encountered an adult friend of yours who you saw they were legitimately scared by the show Mountain Monsters. So like, I can't watch it. I get too scared. Like, I'm now afraid of Bigfoot. Or if you walked in on one of your adult friends masturbating to the show Mountain Monsters, which would make you lose more respect for that person?
Oh, the first one for sure. If they said they
I'm
were
masturbating
scared.
either way.
Yeah, those thick thighs on that CGI model, like every week it gets me.
It's relatable.
Put a sock right on that door.
There's a perversion to both. Like, something's wrong with both of those men that I'm not qualified to diagnose.
Feel like I could...
Like, I'd walk in and be like, oh, no, I'm not the guy to fix this.
I could venture through to understand and be like, was it like the Huckleberry Nude episode? I mean, there could be like an effort to understand. Whereas if you said, I find this legitimately terrifying, I would have no way. I would have like no mental foothold to like make any headway into that idea. It's just utterly baffling to me. So they open with the sizzle reel. It's cut together of all the CGI monster photos and their reactions, like the reactions of the team as they find Bigfoot. And we make fun of it every time, but there's something about seeing it all unfold, which is that they react the same every time, and that is to scream as loud as they can every single time, no matter how many times they've done this, spin around and point their guns both at each other, at the camera, and in the opposite direction. But it's cut in such a way that they're always spinning to look in the opposite direction as they were. So it looks like they went out one night and got attacked by like 50 big feet and were just like, oh my God, he's over here. Oh, there's another one behind us.
It is so funny, the montage of them screaming, there it is, at a thing that's not there. More than 0 times is pretty embarrassing, but like 15, it's like, okay, this is childlike. But I love it. It
really cracked me up, that sizzle reel. They open on the Hellhound episode, and one of my favorite quotes that I don't know I appreciated at the time was, I think it was Jeff who said, "This son of a gun is killing down there. It's going in buildings." He's done. Just it's going in buildings. Trapper says buildings. When it loses its fear of man, it's just a matter of time before it's attacking humans. And Huckleberry instantly just goes, "Yeah, just a matter of time." So I like this interaction because Jeff introduces the threat. Trapper explains the nature of the threat. And Huckleberry reiterates the urgency of the threat. Mm-hmm. And nobody in this interaction tried to add, like, it ate my Dotson, or right. It's got tiny usable hands.
No ghost brides.
Yeah, there's no Indian child bride. I didn't really appreciate it at the time because I didn't realize how far they would fall. But they kind of had it. They had, at least a concept of it.
What's important, though, is when they started out by saying this thing has lost its fear of man, that when they go and talk to a witness, this would, of course, be the time for him to say, it attacked one of my farmhands. He's in the hospital right now. I can't tell you his name, but yeah, it ripped his whole face off. Because, again, nothing's stopping a witness from saying that. And instead, this is that one where they go, where that cattle rancher had the calf, where they had removed a strip of skin due to an infection or something. It's a very clearly neat, like, surgical removal of skin that had gotten back from the vet, and they decided, the guy apparently had called them, say, "Hey, you guys film like monster stuff, right? I got a messed up calf here that you could come shoot it."
They're like,
looks awful.
Yeah, Hellhound had ripped that off like that. Yeah, this'll work, guys.
Trapper, it really makes you appreciate Trapper. He immediately sees that and he's like, oh, you can see he just gets on top of him, and he rides the calf around, because you said the Hellhound was way bigger than this calf, so he's just a like a toddler jumping on a chihuahua and riding it around. Like because the way the skin was torn, it was from the top of the back and down, so it could only be like, if this was a tear, it would have to be from above. And then but we said this was a dog, so I'm gonna improvise that he leaps on top of it and pulls the skin off of their back like fucking KFC, and he accidentally made a hilarious mental image. See, this is also, God, there are a lot of firsts. This is the first time they get lost in a cornfield. That was the best.
5 minutes into their scariest moments highlight episode, they are lost in a cornfield. If you had never seen this show and you'd run across this, like, hey, this is the best of, you get a taste of the kind of thing we're up to. 5 minutes in, they're like, I can't see anything in this corn. Like, nobody
they didn't say
asked you to go in the
scariest
corn.
for us.
It's true. That was the most scared they've been, was being in a cornfield at night. Not with a hellhound, just being in a cornfield at night. I believe their genuine terror, because I do believe they got lost. Like, I remember every time they enter a cornfield, it is a matter of just seconds before they're like, you guys, which direction did we just come from? I have no idea. How does anybody do this? The farmers are just out here lost forever. Fucking Bermuda Triangle. So they say with the hellhound's position triangulated, and then they cut to a graphic of the two lines converging. You can't do this in a clip show, but they do. So every time they have a plan in the clip show, they're like, okay, cut to that graphic. And like, even if you didn't notice that every single episode it's the same graphic, and it's just the same plan and the same arrows, they put it back to back in a clip show so that you can see the two arrows. They're coming from this direction. They're coming from this direction. It's just the pincer movement over and over and over again. Like, they made a pincer movement supercut. I can't think of anything more condemning.
Yeah. I think what's condemning is that they have cut these episodes down to like 2 minutes, and I don't think they're missing a single detail. Like, when you look at their adventures, it's like, yeah, we got in the car, we went to the place, we saw a monster, we got scared, we left, we talked to a guy, and they're like, yeah, you did 2 minutes worth of shit. And you proved that, and maybe you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, because they're going to cover 6 hunts in their scariest hunts episode, so they're only devoting, I don't know, like 5 minutes to each one, and it's fine. It's fine. They lose nothing.
I couldn't tell you. I'm sure I could have my notes. There are little things here that we drill into that I get a lot of joy out of. But for the overall, just like, here's what happened, they really, God, they screwed themselves so bad. They made a reel of like, here is all of the time we have wasted. Like this is a present. This is, if I was auditing the show for the Travel Channel, this is the reel I would make to condemn them. I would be like, we have to slash their budget right now. Look at what they're doing.
They make some good choices too. Like, for example, they cut out how the Cherokee Death Cat is made from like the tormented souls of the Trail of Tears. Like, I feel like that's a good note to take that out.
But when they string these together in this highlight show, you also get just rapid fire their failure huddles each time, like one after another after another. It's like, well, I guess I got away. Well, as far as I'm concerned, it can have that cave. It's just one after. So you see the rhythm of the show that's just failure after failure. Because when they come every 5 minutes, it plays very differently. Or no, it actually plays the same.
They should not have done this. And if they did do this like the traditional TV clip show way, which is where you just pick clips at random from the episodes alongside a theme, like, they could have hidden this. But instead they were like, no, we have to recap we're just going to recap 6 episodes so that you can see it's all the same thing, and we fuck it up in a new way each time. It's incredible. It's incredible that nobody saw this and was like, oh, but we can't put this out.
Yeah, this is embarrassing. There's a part that made me laugh where one of the witnesses, if you see this creature, then you will surely die. Or maybe it was Trapper who said, if you see this creature, you will surely die. And then they cut to people seeing it. Like, every individual member of the Ames team seeing it. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, they don't stick to that. You're talking about the Cherokee Death Cat now, right?
The Cherokee Death Cat,
You've skipped one animal ahead, because the Hellhound is noticeable. Like, the scary moments with each of these, I assume there's one moment is the reason they included it. And here, it's that first time they faked an encounter where you could see something. where they did that really cool effect shot where they had that greenhouse and a spotlight and they just had somebody's dog running in front of it, but it projected the shadow big across that wall. That's as good as the show ever got in terms of faking that, because the rest of the time it was just a Bigfoot hand in a gorilla costume from Party City reaching through a door. Not as cool as this. Like, this took planning. This took timing. They had to run alongside it at the same time the dog did. It was, it actually
they had to scream, it's a hellhound. It's a hellhound. That helped sell it.
Yeah. It just gave us a false idea of what their fakery would look like. But this was the first time they crossed the Rubicon in terms of, no, we've got to show them something. It can't forever just be off camera. And so like they set up that thing. Now, was it scary? I'm trying to imagine the person that would have been scared by that scene.
Okay, for that one scene, I'll give you this. I can imagine, my mind's eye, a very sheltered Southern grandma seeing that and going, oh my.
And then masturbating.
And just jerking it. Just cranking it furiously. No, so I love that it just proves that they didn't learn. Like, you can see them, they got creative for that one shot, and we're like, okay, so here's a way we can do this. We've just been trying to put them off camera this whole time. We just found a way to put them on camera with just a little trickery. Like, really, I mean, we didn't invent this technique of the basic, it's a shadow puppet. Like, we just did a shadow, but we can like go back to basic techniques and do a lot of applications we can do. Nope, they never did it again. True, like Mountain Monsters fashion, they learned nothing. They learned the opposite of something. It's like having an idea burns it out of their head forever. Like, just self-destructing ideas.
And then this part of the highlight episode ends with them realizing that they got turned around on the cornfield, and that allowed the Hellhound to escape because they were pointing, and they accidentally ran it in the opposite direction of the trap. All right, going home. It has lost its fear of man. It is a horrifying predator. We did all we could do. Went into the corn, got lost. It kind of got lost itself. We accidentally steered it away from the trap toward where all of the vulnerable people live.
Toward a kindergarten class. That's on
first
us.
Highlight in our highlight reel, done in the can.
They do that bit again. They'd never do a shadow puppet again, but the riling up a creature and leaving, that's something they
do the getting lost in the cornfield quite a bit too.
Yeah,
that's our favorite thing.
So then they move on to the Cherokee Death Cat. We've already kind of started talking about that. I just want to bring up, I've completely somehow forgot how adorable the Cherokee Death Cat CGI model is. I think it's literally like a Top Cat costume. Like, it's a mascot costume. It is so funny.
Wonderful. Anybody out there, if you're near a computer, just Google Cherokee Death Cat. Sadly, it almost certainly will be the very top result.
Yeah, the Cherokee don't have a myth that if you kill all of them, if you genocide them all on the Trail of Tears, they will, of course, turn into a cat and haunt your livestock. Surprisingly, that one wasn't based on a real monster. So this is also the first time Buck said, I got a little Cherokee blood in me. And they all treat it like magic. So now we can, like... This comes a little bit after the Ravenlocker episode, but not so many episodes that it's like blasted out of your brain. So you just did the episode where you're like, we're all Indians here, all of us, and that makes us magical. And then like 5 episodes later, you're like, hey, remember that time when Buck said he was Cherokee? And we're like, you're the only one who can save us with your Cherokee blood. Like,
pretty scary moment.
Self-incriminating. That's the scariest.
The scary moment from this is that goat falling down from the rafters. If you remember the first time we watched this, I noticed that the goat had a string tied to it where somebody above had to like lower it down for some reason. And I don't think you
the
caught it.
Cherokee Death Cat, you mean?
Yeah,
Cats love string.
When the predator, because they had to do that very awkward thing where Buck had like blood dripping on him, and they've like seen that in horror movies. So they tried to, Buck, you're bleeding. I'm not bleeding. I'm fine. No,
I'm not bleeding.
You've got blood on you. What? What do you mean? Goat falls from the ceiling. Everybody screams, points their guns at each other.
Nobody told them that like the scares are about timing and that there's a reason when you see that scene in the movie, they don't talk about it for 5 minutes. They're like, I don't think that's my blood. Where do you think that blood could come from? Let's brainstorm. No bad ideas. No, as soon as you need it right then to happen, and he just keeps talking. I can't believe they showed it
already. So funny, but they also did the commercial break cliffhanger during the clip show, and which I thought was just that's the punchline that it needed.
They're so proud of it, and they showed it with the rope and everything. Just like, yep, you've given yourselves an opportunity to cut around that to like edit it out or something, but no, we're proud.
It really reminded me of how close they were to getting footage of this animal, because they were filming like an open barn door, and the 500-pound Cherokee Death Cat like ran through the barn door while they were filming it. I mean, they almost got him on camera. Like, they were so close.
What else? I think this is the first time we do the thing where somebody disappears dramatically, and the whole team is like, "Oh God, where'd they go? Buck, answer me!" And then Buck just comes up and he's like, "Hey, what's up?" Oh, there. I think Huckleberry literally says, "Oh, there he is." And then that just cuts the end of that scene. They include that in the clip show multiple times. They show this multiple times, too, of all the times they've gone, Willie, where are you? Willie's dead. Willie. Oh, there he is. I think we see the Buck sets up a trail cam for the first time here. That's important. Terrifying. I mean, terrifying. Of course, that's what I mean.
They get that shape, and Trapper says, "That absolutely proves the Cherokee Death Cat exists."
It's weird they do that so rarely.
Yeah.
that they were so
about that.
I forgot about how happy they were with their results the first time they tried it. And you're like, "Oh, okay, so in any other, like a child would learn, oh, okay, I just do that again." Nope.
They did it again to get that shoulder picture of that rogue Bigfoot hunting team.
Yeah, so that's twice.
But in general, every time they did it, because there's a few episodes where they set up the trail cam around the tramp, and in every case, what they got was worse than what their witness had already given them. It's always the case where the witness already had like color video of the thing moving behind his barn or whatever, and it's like, wow, we have a grainy, incredibly low resolution blur. It's like this made the whole thing worth it. This is all we wanted was a trail cam photo. It's like, well, yeah, but if so, then you shouldn't have talked to a witness that gave you a much better. It's like, no, we needed a worse photo.
Should you have maybe set up our really good cameras that we have? I mean, we have extras here. You want to put one of them? No? It doesn't count. It's unsporting. I understand.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So moving on to the cave creature episode where they had to go into caves, which was legitimately one of the most dangerous things they've ever done. They went into like a 5th grade field trip tourist cave.
Yeah, they straight up went to a field trip cave.
But I'm still going to give them credit for that being very dangerous to them at this point.
Now, is this and the Xenomorph, are these the only 2 Hollywood IP they've stolen for? Because this is the cave creature from The Descent. Like,
yeah,
they just took that design and
Descent. It's down to like the CGI model is like a PS1. This is if the PS1 remake of The Descent came out, that this is what the bad guy would look like. I don't know. They do the Xenomorph. What else do they do from the movies?
I think this is just
they ever
those
do
two.
A Predator?
I guess no.
They did have some Predator powers in the Alien one.
That's right.
During the Alien one, that's where Jeff kept getting confused about which movie, which alien they were after.
Put Predator and his aliens. Like, no, we're not doing the Aliens versus Predator. Those movies, those are bad. We're doing.
But I'm wondering if they didn't get yelled at by somebody at the network for like, you cannot just rip the Xenomorph design and just because you're not using the word alien. If that is, that is like a 20th Century Fox property or whatever studio owns that.
The mental image of him running the alien from Aliens, just kind of running through the woods in Appalachia, it doesn't work. It just doesn't fit. I think they did the right move moving away from that, as much as I enjoyed that episode, and I really did.
This cave creature episode was kind of maybe one of their worst ones, because like they go to the field trip cave, but then Buck like leaves. And then a buck-shaped blob shows up, and they're like, "Oh, look, it's the cave creature!" And then they find like a single leaf in the cave, and Trapper's like, "We found a single leaf. That proves that like the cave creatures here. I don't know. I just feel like if you see a single leaf in a cave and you think that means cave creature, you're maybe not. There's no nice way to put it. You're not smart enough for this world. Like, you're one YouTube video away from being a Nazi, and I don't think we can trust you. Is my point.
I'm so glad they learned not to go in caves anymore. I don't think they learned, like, narratively any lessons from this about storytelling or the world, but they did learn that half their team can't go in the cave for various reasons.
They do just give up because it's hard. They were, like, right there. And they're like, we might get lost in there. Let's take off. Like, okay. You're a couple feet from a magical troglodyte in the local cave. You're not going to get a better shot than this.
So was the scary moment from this when Willie got yanked through the tunnel? Is that what they're calling the scariest moment?
I think it was when they saw Buck in the dark trying to do his little crab dance. Just want to describe that,
man.
Because that's what he's doing. He's kind of like prowling all fours, but then he has to like quickly shuffle out of the way, and he's just has to do a little crab dance. And you're just watching Buck. You're watching Buck in night vision do a crab dance. That's fucking terrifying.
It's pretty scary, yeah. And I like when Willie gets yanked into the hole because he's like, I am not acting. I am not preparing for this. I have no idea what's about to. Oh no, I'm being pulled into a hole. Like, it's beyond his performance capabilities in a way that's, I think, funny and charming.
But again, he immediately comes back.
Yeah,
because when they will rely on that getting yanked into the corner or something a few times, but it's always they just pop right back up and like, hey, that was scary. That thing yanked me.
He didn't want anything else but to yank me. Let's not explore that. What I just said.
It's just a yanker.
I just wanted to yank Willie. What? I hear it. I hear it now.
Now, this is the one where in their own lore, they just completely carpet bombed the cave floor with homemade steel cable traps where they establish if you put your foot in it and you take a step, it will pull tight and it can only be removed by cutting the cable. There's no release lever. So going back to what we said earlier about kind of watching these through the eyes of people who hate illegal hunting methods, I actually called my local police and asked, would there be a problem with me just putting down like 200 homemade leg snare traps in a tourist cave? And they just came to my house and arrested me. The guy just kept me on the phone. It's like, yeah, that's very interesting. Tell me why you want to do that. And then he like dispatched officers to the house to make sure I didn't own any. He said,
cable. So I just see that you want a trip. Why don't you come down to the station and get this free trip?
We actually have, you won't believe it, a bunch of excess snares here. You don't even have to build your own. Come on down, pick up some man traps. Don't read into that. So I love that they decide this monster got away, the cave creature got away because he was so human he could see the snares.
Mm-hmm. He also had like Wolverine claws that let him climb on the walls.
Also, they established very first thing, it climbs on the walls. It doesn't travel along the ground where the danger is.
They didn't say like, he ran across the ceiling. They were like, no. He's so human he can see human-made objects. Like I think all animals can see human-made objects. I mean, I guess there might be some that couldn't, but it's outlandish.
They didn't disguise them or camouflage them in any way.
In any way.
But here we are, 3 for 3 in their first 3 examples of scariest moments, and then this one ends with them not only retreating because going in the caves at night is too scary and we'll get lost if we keep trying to find out where it went, but also Wild Bill with the legendary line, as far as I'm concerned, he can have that cave.
We give up.
So there's your third highlight reel.
I shouldn't have come here. This was his territory, and I owe him an apology. So we move on to the bear beast, which was the monstrous bear that was killing and molesting underage bears. And this was one of the first. Was this the first time they did a personal episode? No, because it's Willie's, but
very
Willie's
early, because Willie's the hog hunting creature was like episode 4 or something like that. Like they knew very early that there should be some sort of a personal connection to these creatures, some sort of extra motivation that makes them into like a loose cannon. Because there's the ongoing thing of, well, he ran off in a rage into the woods by himself, and we don't do that. We've got to follow procedure. We are just regimented, trained to the hilt. We do this exactly right, or people die. You can't just be going off on your own.
Yeah, we've trained in the phalanx maneuver, and you have to like lock your shields, boys. This was Wild Bill's personal episode, and the thing where Willie's was, I have to protect my farm. Huckleberry's comes later, and that's I was molested by Bigfoot. Wild Bill's was, he can't kill bears. I like to kill bears.
Right. With the proper permit.
They legendarily had the first witness that says exactly 19 bears have been killed by this thing. Had this weirdly odd number that he improvised, and then the team just went along with it, with Wild Bill saying, "Oh, that's a pile of bear." Because remember, they brought Wild Bill to the witness interview, and it was a catastrophe.
I like that it suggests a mass bear grave. That this isn't like he didn't tag a bunch of bears and they disappeared. It's like, no, he found a 19 bear mass grave. That's.
I want to say, I think the scary moment in this, I think it's supposed to be the one where Willie falls in the hole and then Jeff falls in immediately after him. It's wonderful.
Guess.
He comically, I could relive that forever. They're walking along in the woods, and Willie just zoop, like cartoon disappears down some like brush, and he is just gone. And Jeff, I swear to God, I watched it a few times. I swear to God, Jeff continues walking out into the air like a cartoon. Like, I don't know how he did that. That was masterful. That was like, he must have studied Michael Jackson to learn the lean or something, because that was physics defying. And then he went zoop right down the hole, except for his tiny ankles just kicking. They kick for a little bit. Fucking classic.
That's adorable.
Now this
terrifying.
Is the one,
I mean,
scariest.
This is the one where they threatened to fire Wild Bill because during the night investigation, he took off after the bear beast, and that's not the night hunt. That's just the investigation. So they had this whole tense thing broken up by an ad break where he has to meet with the HR department, which is Trapper, to discuss whether or not he will be, and Trapper tells him he's on probation. And the last time we've heard of the probation, it wasn't like a year later, Trapper like, "Hey, I want to let you know your probation is up."
Oh, Wild Bill checking in.
I love Wild Bill trying to act like relieved, where he's like, "Oh, whew, I thought it would be worse than probation. Oh boy, just Bigfoot probation. It's not a big deal."
I think
just gotta wear an ankle
Okay,
brace.
I think this was the episode where Willie, I don't know if it's that hole he fell down there, but doesn't he disappear down a hole in this one? And he's like, "You won't believe what's down here." And they're just like, "No. No, we gotta go, Willie."
They did that in the Shadow Creature episode, the next one they cover. But I don't know that
There's
they
like
did that in the...
There's like an underground city down here, and they're just like, "No.
Yeah,
No, man.
We can't fake
No.
that. Yeah, every hole he falls in, it's a magnificent cavern. You just got to look at. But yeah, we got to get going.
He really started to try to make that a thing where he's like, "I found something amazing in this hole." Eventually they would in a later episode with the fire and the Bigfoot map, but he was trying to get that rolling early. Just don't put the cameras down there. You don't know. So this is also, I think, the first time they discover a real win condition, which is that they decide they can kill the bear beast off camera by saying they found lung blood, and lung blood means that's a dead son of a bitch. And the reason that we don't have a bear beast corpse mounted in front of the White House right now is because it fell in the tiny creek and got washed away.
The one they just
The
walked
1,500
across.
pound.
They drove the golf cart through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is the one where they set up a phalanx and they all fire. I counted a total of 12 shots into the creek against and then declared that this, 500-pound creature, however big it was just like, "Nah, it's floating down the creek. That'll certainly never just wash up on a sandbar or something. That it's gone for all of eternity," which bothers me quite a bit because I just watched the most recent season of Reacher. And in that show, Reacher is shown shooting a bad guy who then falls off a cliff into some water. And when I watched it, I was like, well, that guy's dead. Like, he fell into the water. Like, of course, they didn't show anybody recovering the body, but they didn't have to.
He's not going to change his name and cut the ear off Anthony Michael Hall's son and take over his gun running business.
falling into Whitewater Rapids. But then this show implies that that is an absolute death penalty and there's no reason to follow up. So I do not know who to believe here. Like I wish I could get these two people together, get Reacher and the Ames team and say, does shooting something and making it fall into water, does it kill it or not?
They would be natural enemies immediately. Reacher and the Ames team. That is a setup for disaster let me be clear, for the Ames team. Reacher would absolutely destroy them, but they would fire first. I'm convinced. That's a Bigfoot. That's
right. That's
so next is the Shadow Creature episode, which is the xenomorph from Alien.
Okay, but before we go on, there's one fairly important point I want to hit here, because at the end, Trapper does have a line where after they've murdered this animal says, well, normally we just go out to prove they exist. But when that son of a bitch turned around on us, we had no other choice but to drop him. And unfortunately, because this is a highlight reel episode, it was only like 4 minutes earlier that we heard Wild Bill in the truck briefing saying, I believe this creature exists out here, and I'm going to make it not exist anymore. He said from the opening minutes of the episode, which again, if it was an hour-long episode, maybe you forgot he said that. When they compress it into a highlight reel and leave both things in, they left it in, him saying, I am out to kill this thing. It's hurting my bears. And then Trapper saying, well, we never come out to kill these creatures. This was pure self-defense. It turned on us. Now, we were chasing it and screaming at it in a golf cart. Very poacher-like behavior, in my opinion. Anyway.
This is why he was on probation.
On several occasions, Wild Bill has said he is going to eat the cryptid there after. There's not...
It's probably his outgoing message, to be fair. Like, if you call Wild Bill, it's like, I'm not here right now, I will fucking eat you! Leave your message, please.
I just don't think there's any such thing as consensual cryptid cannibalism. Like, I don't think they go for that. Not in America.
I like an alien, because when they're fighting the alien from Aliens, like, you're like, oh, they need security for this one. They need Huckleberry. But Huckleberry had, like, the sniffles, so he didn't come out to the alien hunt.
He called in sick the time they hunted the alien from Aliens, which I would argue is by far the highest stakes hunt they have ever had. Like, I know you're not ever going to shoot it, but if you did, it's got acid for blood. Like,
yeah. Yeah, and I know that there's probably no anti-poaching laws that specifically mention extraterrestrial beings, but I am very confident that there are other laws on the books that would prevent you from killing an alien that arrives on Earth without checking with somebody first. Like, I'm pretty sure there's something on the books that says you're not. And in fact, I think it's a positive thing where they have a list of animals you are allowed to hunt. And it's like, if it's not on this list, you can't shoot it. If you invent a new animal, bring it to us. We'll consider whether or not to put it on the list. You can't just automatically assume that we're at war with it.
Yeah, if you invent a new animal, definitely don't. We need to know about that. Like, that's a big deal to us. Like, if there's first contact out there, you don't hunt it, generally speaking. I think this is the first time, or at least the most conspicuous time, Trapper establishes his blood tasting power. Where he goes like, he tastes a little bit of blood and goes like, that's deer.
He's really lucky, because if that was alien blood, his face would have melted off.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
And I cannot, I know we're forget it. I'm not going to, there's no point in me bringing this up. It's fine. It's totally fine.
I feel like that's the motto of the show. Let's bring it up.
For you to know, I know, because I know I went on this rant when he did it the first time, and I'm not going to make people listen to it again. You can cut all of this, but to be able to taste blood, instantly know that it's deer, means you have to have tasted all of the different bloods enough times that you can instantly recognize it. Because, if you gave me a blind taste test between like Diet Coke and Diet Pepsi, I think I could probably do it. That I've drank tens of thousands of gallons of those drinks in my life. It was not after a single tasting. So for him to taste it and say, dear, I get what he's doing. He's trying to make himself look like the ultimate outdoorsman. But the amount of blood you would have to have drank in your life to instantly recognize a minuscule amount. I'm sorry. You can cut all this. I
every day, gallons and gallons of blood every morning.
He was
His wife
shooting
is
for
preparing it. She's trying to trick him. She's like, here's some deer blood. He's like, you can't get me, honey. This is gerbil blood.
It's this. He was
They
shooting
got every animal.
for like seasoned woodsman, and he landed on hillbilly vampire. Like, so you were just out here drinking blood nonstop. Yeah, you got to keep the senses up. I can't let
Comes
him
in
go.
handy.
Because
Because if it was bear blood, they would have changed up all their tactics. They would have thrown the whole plan away. He's hunting bears, not deer.
this is the one thing in the show they don't have to fake if they've hunted. Use the actual hunting logic you would use. And they never do that. All the stuff they do in terms of trying to determine how big a creature is or which creature it was or trying to reconstruct what it was doing, it's just as pulled out of their ass as the creatures. But why? That part could be real. Don't you hunt? Don't you guys hunt? Like being able to taste deer blood. Like, for example, in the last episode, the thing with the saying that it got shot and then that the blood was frothy, like urine, and that's lung blood. I think that's probably true. That's like a real thing they said and applied it to a fictional hunt. For some reason, there's something in Trapper's spirit that's like, no, this is all fake. I'm going to fake everything, including how guns work, whether or not we're making a TV show even. Sometimes we are, sometimes we're not.
It's all world building to Trapper. He's got every little facet of how this universe works just written out in a journal somewhere. It is not our universe. I don't know what the scary moment is from this. I guess it's either the one where Willie falls off a cliff, or is it the photo of the? What is the scary moment?
It's the moment when Willie and Wild Bill find the little narrow cave and crawl inside of it, and they have the cameraman or somebody throw a branch down at them.
Yeah.
Because the xenomorph famously attacks that way.
It didn't even register because I forgot that takes place during the daytime. Like, it's the middle of the day in that shoot. It's just...
Also, there's no real reason for them to go under a rock and snuggle and then just wait for a stick to get thrown at them.
Rock snuggle's its own reason.
No, I agree, I guess. If my hunting partner says, let's go in that rock and snuggle, I'd consider it. But if we're hunting the alien from Aliens, I'd say, why would we do that?
And this is the one where the way they staged it, later on knowing the names of the cameramen, and so now that it's now becomes canon to the show that no, the cameraman is there. He existed. Right. You're not seeing like a God's eye view of this. That is being recorded by. So now they go and hide in the cave and leave the cameraman out here to film them cowering as the alien chucks objects at, and they don't say, hey, Zach, get in the cave with us. That thing's right up there.
Hole's only big enough for two, brother.
And he's such a pro, he does not even aim the camera towards the origin of that log. He's like, I'm going to keep the gentleman framed while they snuggle under the rock.
Gotta keep your subject in frame. The subject! It's the alien! Oh, I fucked up a lot, huh? Like a lot through the whole course of this show. Somebody should have said something before now.
It was kind of scary when they met that hostile hillbilly, and they had to have Huckleberry talk to him, hillbilly to hillbilly, to not get shot.
That's right,
and he gives him a flash drive with a digital photo of the alien from Aliens. I thought it veered really hard away from hillbilly towards the end of that scene. But.
They should have reacted like the monkeys in 2001. It should have been awe and terror and violence. Just like, I don't know what that is, but then you're not going to believe me when I say what the next one is in the scariest moments of all time episode.
The finale of the scariest moments episode. Listeners, which hunt do you think they put here as the climax of their scariest of the scary animal hunts?
I'll give you 3 hints. Small, crude, usable.
Hogzillas. Small, crude, usable Hogzillas. They put Hogzilla. They not only included Hogzilla, but they end on Hogzilla. Spoiler, that we've already covered this, but spoiler, Hogzilla turns out in their universe to just be a pig. To just be a normal pig. So like,
He does break out of that truck invisibly, which is pretty impressive for a farm hog.
I guess that was supposed to be the scary moment, but like now you have to mentally go back and reinsert a normal pig doing that, and you're like, that's still not scary. That's very funny. If a pig bursts out of somewhere, instant laugh from me.
Because that was one where Jeff flung himself to the ground as if he thought they were going to CGI in an animal attacking
We've got
him.
it. We got the little hands you asked for and everything. It's going to look just like that.
Now, wait, hold on. You're telling me this hog-type creature has paws? That's a direct quote.
Also, very funny visuals when they're out on the hunt for the Hogzilla. They walk right past a posted sign posted to a utility pole that says, "Private property, hunting, fishing, trapping, or trespassing for any purpose is strictly forbidden. Violators will be prosecuted." And they just march right past that sign with their shotguns and their Glock pistol that Trapper sometimes carries as a backup.
Yeah, they're going to keep on the grass. Our
Hogzilla hunting
rebels.
season, baby. I'm going to take those tiny hands as a trophy.
There's a moment, it's one of my favorite Mountain Monster moments, is when Trapper does say, "Now wait, hold on, you're telling me this hog-type creature has paws." And then, of course, Jeff says the famous line, "Small, crude, usable hands." And then he gives like a little, "It is what it is," shrug, like, "Yeah, fucking, what can I tell you? You got small hands, man."
That's why I'm the best. And then Buck goes, "No,
Nope.
no, he doesn't have hands."
But did you notice that when in this highlight reel version of it, one, after they trap it, they do not acknowledge that it was just a pig. They say, "We've got Hogzilla." And the way it's shot, it does not show its hooves. So they did not necessarily clarify in this highlight reel version of the hunt that it did turn out to be regular pig. They kind of make it seem like, no, we caught the legendary cryptid Hogzilla. With as a previous witness established, it stands up on its hind legs with its little hands out like a little tiny, like a T-Rex, and that's what scared them because pigs can't stand upright like that.
I'm going to give him a time note. I think the bit should have been like, "Yep, I guess it was just a regular pig," and they all go home, and then the cameraman stays and gets a shot, and it's just all handprints in the mud. No hoofs. Just go out on that.
Oh,
that's the scary moment.
He fooled you again. Instead, there's a moment here. I know I've talked about it before, but I want to talk about it again, where they have managed barely to trap a pig they rented from a nearby farmer. Not a big pig, not an exceptionally large. If you're thinking boar, if you're thinking like a vicious wild boar, no, this is a pig you will see on any farm. And it is not especially upset. It seems very playful. It's just kind of hopping around and having a good time in there. And they're filming it from every angle, trying to make it look like, "Oh, this is sicko vision. Look at this fucking monster." And Wild Bill has the audacity to look this totally normal, confused, happy pig in the eye and say, "Trapzilla."
This is also
like it's checkmate.
Where every time it moved, they dubbed in that karate sound of the hand whipping through the air to make it sound like it's making movements at superhuman speed.
So great.
And they actually, speaking of the karate movements, they end this with the Jackie Chan montage of exactly what we've asked for, what we've asked the gods for, a montage of all the times the Tubby Men fell down in the woods.
So this episode ends on basically a music video where they play the extended version of the song, the theme song, Mountain Man Town. Now, normally, I think it makes people uncomfortable when we disagree about some serious subject on here. We don't bring it up very often, so why we rarely get political on this show. That said, I do have to push back on something that Sean said 3 minutes from now in the future, because they played the entirety of the song Mountain Man Town, where we get lyrics we've never heard before. And I will read those lyrics to you now. "Heading down to where the mountain men live." And by the way, this song was written for this show. This is not an existing song. "With their dirty deeds and their whiskey grins, where the native son is a toothless prince. He plays for keeps when he speaks his sins. Well, I'll be back with an iron beard and shotgun shells in my bandolier. With calloused hands and dirty boots, I've rotted out my last good tooth. And then here's the part where, again, I think Sean's reaction to this a minute from now is offensive, where he says, take a sip, then spit it out. I've got a splinter in this working man's mouth. There is no reason to read innuendo into that. There's no slang that's, hey, I've
disagree.
got...
This is where we disagree. You were right. Jeff is peeing in somebody's mouth, and I will not hear a second opinion on it. It's what the song is about.
It scans to be Jeff, too, because he would call his own cock a splinter. He's got the little mommy boy pee-pee fetish. He would be like, well, give out my little splinter. That's too far.
We can cut all this, Jamie. Cut me winning that argument. You can cut me winning that argument.
Okay, we're moving on to Mountain Monster Season 2, Episode 21, Best of Bigfoot. It's just, I love saying Best of Bigfoot. like he's in a jam band. This time they open with a sizzle reel again, and it ends with the narrator saying, if you think you know Bigfoot, you don't know diddly squat.
He said, if you think you know Bigfoot, you don't know diddly squatch.
Did I miss
shit,
squatch?
Jason's right. I think you fucked up the pun, yeah.
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah. Yours was like a normal thing to say. The real line was like something a Bigfoot mom would needlepoint.
That implies
I'm
the
not sure if
existence
Bigfoot mom's a real person.
of diddly squatch? There's one of these is called the diddly squatch? I don't want to meet that one. That's a problematic squatch right there.
Yeah, I think that's the one Huckleberry ran into.
I absolutely did not catch that. Are you fucking with me? This feels like you're fucking with me.
I uploaded a screenshot of this to the Slack with the captions on, where it says, "You don't know diddly squatch."
Oh yeah, that's worth the fury and humiliation of being gently corrected. I'll take.
We could take it from the top, and you can get it right.
No.
I'm gonna make something out of that Bigfoot mom idea.
As we watch this highlight reel of the 5 best big feet they've hunted, the way you watch these is you imagine the rogue team, this super high-tech, well-funded organization has access to every database in the world. You must imagine the rogue team just off camera in the bushes watching these masters work and thinking, we need to know everything about these guys. We need to, the path between us and Bigfoot lies through these superhuman experts. So let's see if it holds up like that.
I imagine them, if in the universe where all of this, I just assume all of this is totally accurate. Like, let's just give them that. Let's give them like your whole universe. It's all true, exactly how you say it is. And the rogue team has been watching you, and they did realize you were the people that encounter Bigfoot the most. And then, therefore, if they want to find Bigfoot, they have to go through you. Just the rogue team, like, after doing all of their research, coming back to regroup in their top secret, their flying blimp, I suppose, just going like, no, I don't know how it works either, but they find Bigfoot every fucking time. I saw him get out of that truck. He walked like 8 feet, and he got attacked by a Bigfoot. That was the 3rd time that day. Like, I don't, is it they smell or something? I don't know what it is.
I watched these guys get completely encircled by Sasquatch like it was freaking Stalingrad. They had Sasquatch on all sides of them, cut off their supply routes. These people don't just have no trouble finding them. They get surrounded by Bigfoot.
And it's not just Bigfoot. Like, I swear to God, I went out there and they were fucking pterodactyls. They found pterodactyls. You tell me how they found pterodactyls. How do you track a fucking pterodactyl? I don't know. I don't know how they do it, but we've got to be there because every time they find them, they shit themselves and pass out. And like, we could just go in and save all of science. Like, we'd be the heroes of science. They had to. There's no other option. Okay, so they're starting with the Midnight Whistler, which, if you don't remember, was the Whistling Foot.
The one that was attracted to that guy playing harmonica because somehow
his wife.
A harmonica sounds like what was it, like the whistle?
It was
of
a hurt
A
baby.
baby whistler. Yeah.
It was a
Sounds like a hurt
wounded
baby with
baby. Because, okay, so In the truck, they establish that Trapper's like, the Midnight Whistler, and Buck's like, Buck does a jaunty little whistle, and Trapper's like, no! Buck, no! That is not what we are talking about. It sounds like a goddamn train whistle. It is a macho, manly, terrifying whistle.
Yeah.
And then the first witnesses are these people that were playing harmonica, and he gives them a little harmonica, and he's like, yeah. The Bigfoot's like, yeah, that's what I sound like. So it's not a train whistle. It is a goofy little harmonica.
Yeah.
And what
he
he thought was happening was that there was a hurt baby. Bigfoot was like, heard this terrible harmonica, and was like, oh, somebody's killing a baby over there. I gotta go save it. And that's why we have to kill this Bigfoot, this hero Bigfoot, that would be on the local news.
This guy wants to keep playing harmonica on his porch. He does not want to have to stop. Like that's the mission they're on, is to let this guy play his harmonica.
Bigfoot keeps rescuing me every night. He just cradles me in his giant arms and runs me off to safety. And I'm like, it takes me a while to walk back. So can you kill it? So
what a show. I really missed Trapper's terms. He starts using terms like nest and waterways and travel route. And when they find tracks, they're like, oh, that's a Bigfoot runway. And I looking back at the clips, I'm like, I miss these terms. I miss that they were building their own vocabulary.
Yeah, he really brought a lot to the show. Like, he brought so much to the show that is just not there in his absence. And Buck is not filling that role. But yeah, this is where we established that Bigfoot, it's a waterbound creature. He's got some sort of crude boat that he gets around in, I guess. I think this was one of the first times they come back during the day. And man, that revelation just slowly poisoned their brains, didn't it? They were just like, yeah, we've got to find a way to come back during the day. And they would just over the next 20 episodes, they would slowly like poke at the idea of like, we need some excuse for why we would be out here during the day. No, you don't.
Just do it.
I think you would need an excuse for why to be out there at night, but you're like, we wanted to see what the tracks looked like in the day. No.
I think they immediately illustrated how it was a bad idea because they found the Bigfoot nest during the day, and he's nocturnal, so they're like, we're going to go and find him sleeping. And they look through, and Trapper's like, he's right there. He's in this dome. And then they go around to the opening, which is just a couple feet away. And no, he's not. Because, like, it's the day. You can't just have him, like, run into the shadows. So they had to just be like, oh, no, false alarm.
And
2-minute commercial break, false alarm.
Implied they were going to murder this thing in its sleep because they approach with their guns out. And what's the best case scenario? They did not bring a net or any tranquilizers or anything that could just incapacitate the creature. They're there with shotguns where they believe it is sleeping in its home peacefully, and their goal was to, because if it wakes
up, "Don't Move or You're Dead" on the harmonica. Easy.
If it wakes up, it's not going to react well. It's going to be startled. Yeah. It's going to attack you. You're going to be forced to shoot it. Like, you've set up a scenario where, again, if it's truly nocturnal, they maybe could have put something around its nest to like keep it in its nest or whatever, like a big net or something to kind of, because where it is, it's sound asleep. But in reality, it was them kind of trying to desperately think of something to do during the day, because they remember this is the one where they built the trap and then they called that trap the nest. But you can see it's got like the trees are in the exact same position. It's the same structure. And when he built the trap, they're like, well, he built it to be an exact replica of Bigfoot's nest. It's like, well, again, why not just use his nest as the place where you catch him? Like,
there might be some problems in the logic of this show now that you mention it.
Everything is forgiven, though. Everything in the show is forgiven because this is the episode where they find the Bigfoot graveyard.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And Buck delivers the line that I'm going to get tattooed on my back. There's one way to find out. Hold my gun. ... while I dig up Bigfoot's grave. And he does. He digs up Bigfoot's grave.
They left in the shot where Wild Bill does like the Catholic cross on his chest or whatever, because we had that one episode where they decided he was a devout Christian.
Oh, God, I forgot about that. Yeah. I thought he just thought Bigfoot was Catholic.
Like, God is not going to be on Bigfoot's side. Ridiculous.
I forgot he was going to be a holy crusader. He went from filthy pervert trying to do vor stuff with cryptids to like, no, I found Jesus, and now I'm a paladin for Bigfoot.
This is maybe one of their greatest retreats because they all have their weapons. They're in a pretty defensible position, and they get whistled at when they start digging in the grave, and they're just gone. They're just like, let's get the fuck out of here. Something's whistling.
That's
and then they never go back. Like, stop the show here. Go back there with a shovel. This is your show, is exhuming the fucking graves of Big Feet. But,
and to be clear, this is the leading example they use in their best of compilation.
And then they go on to the Wild Man episode. And this is the one that starts with Trapper calling an emergency meeting because Donna, a woman named Donna, left him a message that kind of implied she was actively being murdered by the Wild Man, or at least like being stalked and is going to be murdered by the Wild Man. And Trapper makes a big deal of saying like, the Wild Man, they call him the Wild Man because he's fucking wild, most aggressive Bigfoot ever. And they get there and she's gone. She's like, they're like, God damn, he got Donna. We were too late, boys. Now this is a revenge mission for Donna. Only it turns out Donna just forgot to say, I'm going to be next door.
Right.
Also left that cryptic note about don't go beyond the pond.
Don't go beyond the pond.
Beyond the pond is just like, that's just her sister's house.
Where she was saying, don't go beyond the pond.
Like, I don't want to see you guys tonight. I'm just not in the mood for it.
Like, I think it's funny. My sister is not down. My sister's not cool with you coming on our property.
Yeah,
I think this is their first spooky note. But I might be wrong.
But also, this is the one where Trapper gets flung into the pond by what they determined was a baby Bigfoot. I had forgotten that in the shot of that happening, you plainly see it's just Trapper.
It's just him jumping in.
There's no creature. There's no movement. They don't simulate it at all. They cut over and you see an old man throw himself into a pond.
It's a wild man baby, and you know it.
And then speculating that a wild man baby did it. And again, I'm imagining the rogue team with like these high-powered night vision binoculars watching this unroll. Like, wow.
And this is also in the last two-parter that we just covered. This was like the throwback that they were talking about. So they go back to that shed where they enter the shed and realize that Bigfoot has cleverly trapped them in the shed by virtue of being outside of it. Yes. They're like, oh, he's got us. Yeah.
I think they say he closes the door.
I don't know how he'd lock it. From Buck is when he calls for help. We're in this building and it shut the door on us. We need help. It locked them in that shed thing, that workshop or whatever the building was.
Maybe that's the implication, because I didn't get the implication in the two-parter that we just ended on where they revisit the shed. He like comes up and he sees a lock that's been unlocked. Maybe the implication is like, Bigfoot left this unlocked. Haha, we can get in. We can get in again.
Because and when they did the rogue team stuff, the fact that the rogue team had still photos from this hunt was like a huge revelation. When I watched this highlight again, it's not even within their fiction. It's not clear to me what they're saying the rogue team did, because they had like photos from inside that cabin or whatever. Like, well, how did they get these? Were they implying that they had like a hidden camera in there? I can't figure out what the accusation was supposed to be.
Maybe one of them is on the rogue team. Maybe there's going to be a mole.
Oh, shit.
That seems to be what they were implying.
Right? What else could it be?
Like one of the crew or something leaked photos to them, because who else would they not notice being there? You know what I mean?
It's going to be Wild Bill. It's going to be Wild Bill. When they discover it, he's going to give them the slow clap and like pull off the mask. Or just pull off the hat and reveal a full head of hair.
What was that sound guy who ran into the woods with that real fishy story about, Bigfoot took me to the nest? Pablo, yeah.
Not Pablo.
No, he's my lead suspect.
The one who found out that hunting Bigfoot is La Vida Loca.
That's going on the back. Going right on the old back.
Put that under the grave quote.
So this is the one that ends with the wild man escaping and Jeff catching something on thermal and like going back and scrubbing back, and he sees some guy, dun dun dun, in the woods, dun dun dun, hard out. Oh my God, there was a guy in the woods. And they forgot for a very long time, and then they would remember very briefly, and it ruled. And apparently, according to Jason, they forgot again. So
that's true.
Amazing. And they put it in their best of. Moving on to the Yahoo.
Yahoo's really good.
The Yahoo.
He was a three-shacker, and he screams Yahoo. He loves
Yahoo.
apples.
Well, this is the episode where I accused Trapper of possibly being inebriated on this hunt. Because in the truck, This is the one where he's like, well, the Yahoo, it's 7.5 to 9, 10 feet tall, 800,000 pounds, red, black, blue. He started rattling off descriptions.
Sweet titties. Oh, luscious titties.
I did miss the foreshadowing the first time we watched this of when they first pull up. As they're going into their briefing, the camera stops and it lingers on the sign that says "Welcome to Clay County, home of golden delicious apples."
The
so
golden
good.
delicious
It
apple
all came
subplot
back.
is my favorite subplot of this entire show, of everything we've covered so far. Them coming up with, because the only thing they knew about this town they were going to is that it has a sign coming in that says "Home of the Golden Delicious Apple." So they invented a Bigfoot whose crime was he goes around and gathers up the apples.
Gathers up all the apples.
Just frolicking through the wilderness with a big armload of apples. And they keep describing, like, he was right here eating apples. Like when they get into the shed, where the apple storage has been. And again, this is the problem. He's getting in there and he's eating all the apples. And you can imagine a Bigfoot could eat, $7, $8 worth of apples in a season.
Yeah.
Well,
it's 1,000 pounds, so it has to eat nearly, I would say, 1 apples a day at that size, right?
That's too
so
many.
when they gather up all of the apples in the county, and it's about, I don't know, 1 trip to the grocery store's worth of apples, and put it in the trap, if it doesn't get in that trap, it won't survive the winter.
But this gives us
several
the
apples.
Amazing line, because again, Trapper, whether he was just drunk or in a wacky mood that day, he was like screaming, he was right here eating apples. That son of a bitch has got me fired up now. I'll tell you what. And he's like, he's way up here. And the rest of the team is like, all right.
Yeah.
He tries to get him there too. That's the one where he pulls Buck over and he goes, look right there. Apples.
Apple. He is a fun drunk.
You're fucking drunk as shit, Trevor. Stop it with the apples. Oh, God.
The trap here, it was a box with like a festive string of apples.
It was like
some Yahoo anal beads.
Because they realized only after they baited it that this is an apple orchard area. Like, why would he come for this small bunch of apples in our obvious trap when they're plentiful? And it's like, well, no, the guy who owns all this, he took all the other apples down, so these are the only ones that's left.
He's going to put them up. He's going to put them back up after we're done, just for atmosphere.
Put them back in the tree.
Yeah, because he was getting into apple storage. So where is he? He's got a second secret apple storage that's Bigfoot proof.
All farmers do.
For Bigfoot hunts. If someone's in the area hunting Bigfoots, he moves all of the apples from the regular apple storage into the super double secret.
That's what decoy
Bigfoot.
silos for. That's why we have them.
That all makes sense. It all adds up. You can think about it as hard as you want. Every detail is accounted for.
This one ends with them seeing another little forest golf cart in the woods and deciding that's the enemy rather than like we're at an orchard.
Yeah. They go after him. They would have murdered those local kids or whatever if they'd caught them.
What I missed in this scene originally was Wild Bill seeing the headlights in the woods, and he goes, "Wait a minute, them headlights ain't no bear."
Those are his ways of categorizing things. There's bear and not bear, and he worked this one out.
It took it, but it's prefacing it with "wait a minute," as though he walked past it and thought, those are just bear headlights.
Yeah, you want to be sure. You don't want to say, "Hey, that's not a bear," when it is a bear.
Those aren't the shape of bear headlights.
Gather your evidence before you present it.
Okay. Then they do the Dust Man.
This one pissed me off because they go to Washington County and they cut Jeff's backstory about how they really enjoyed George Washington in this county, and I thought that you don't cut that. I want a clip show of just Jeff listing the senators who lent their names to these great Bigfoot counties. Yeah.
Supercuts of every time Jeff said the Shawnee found it in the 1700s.
They did leave the story of the Shawnee and the legends of the running elbow drop.
Right. The exact phrasing that I know we've repeated this several thousand times, but The Shawnee said the Dust Man could run down a deer and break its neck in one movement. And then when they talked to the witness, the guy that had that huge structure he was calling his deer stand, but in reality it's some sort of municipal fire watch tower or something.
Yeah.
And he did the same thing. It's like, well, I saw a doe over here, and then something come out of the woods and it killed it and it vanished. So
Just
they
an RKO.
absolutely do establish that this thing it can almost teleport from place to place.
Oh, I love it so much. The greatest Bigfoot backstory. Kudos to the Shawnee Indians for coming
help
up
but
with such a
notice
fantastic Bigfoot story.
that in the Best of Bigfoot section on the Dust Man, they did not include Huckleberry saying we're gonna dust his nuts.
Crazy. A crazy decision.
Another insane omission.
What is a Best of clip show for? If not to relive our proudest moments, we're gonna dust his nuts.
They burned like 90
Huckleberry's
seconds
sitting
on
at
the
home,
deer head.
and he's upset. He's like, oh, they're gonna put it, honey. Bring the
Here it
kids in.
comes.
They're gonna
Bring
play
them
it.
out.
They're gonna play it. All the kids had to be like, well, we know you said it, Dad. Yeah, I guess you do.
So this is the one where they discovered first that there's a cave where it had made a fire, which again would be the most important discovery in the world of zoology, maybe ever, that you had a creature intelligent enough to structure and build a fire that can use flint or kindling. That's crazy. But here you see trappers' approach to the scientific method expressed, I think, almost perfectly. Quote, "There's only two damn options for how that fire got in that cave. One, it was a human, but I've seen no human sign. The other option is that Bigfoot built that damn fire."
That's it.
He
Those are
tested
two.
both hypotheses.
Yes.
And
If it was people, we would have seen more. Sean, I think you said in the episode, you would have seen more stuff people have, lawn chairs and sneakers and jacuzzis, and there'd be a Taco Bell here that would...
401ks. Do you see any 401ks around here? No. Then it's Bigfoot.
the scientific consensus says there are no 401ks.
Yeah.
Case closed.
Therefore, everything we know about how the animal world works is totally wrong.
And they find the map of the waterways. So Trapper's theory that Bigfoot is speedboating through Appalachia confirmed. What I didn't fully appreciate the first time around was Trapper saying, "This discovery will set the Bigfoot world on fire."
It is pretty amazing. They found the permanent residence of a Bigfoot. Like, you stake that out in one day and you've got hours of Bigfoot footage. But they decide it's a pretty good step in the direction of proving Bigfoot. Let's leave and never return, fellas.
Because logically, even in their universe, there should be some follow-up to the Bigfoot with human-level intelligence and who has evolved to be a tool user who made a torch that he carries around like he knew to put like pitch on the end of a branch.
They didn't.
Which the Ames team didn't know how to do. It is walking around. It draws maps. It understands abstract concepts. Like there are humans not smart enough to do the stuff this Bigfoot is doing.
Again, the Ames team gets lost in every cornfield. They don't draw their own maps.
Like ideally, the rest of the show would just be about studying the Dust Man and its habits and make yourselves famous just doing an entire documentary series on this thing and its comings and goings. But instead, the other time you hear Trapper express his approach to the scientific method is when they build the trap fort with just a big pit full of mud, just dug a hole and put water in it. And then they had Buck test it out. And then Buck was able to get out with their assistance. And then he says, "If it'll hold one of these team members, it'll hold the Dust Man." This creature that can move at 1,000 miles an hour, that again, in this highlight show, like 4 minutes earlier, you said it could launch itself out of the woods, kill a deer and break its neck in one movement. But it can't escape this pit that Buck would have gotten out of eventually if we...
It's a tool user. It probably has a grappling hook gun. Just
That's true.
fire it right out of there.
It's probably
Zip
got
out.
a parachute it can pop out. Catch an
or
updraft.
would know to avoid your stupid trap, or watched you dig it with your loud backhoe.
Buck almost died here. We should mention that, like, this is probably among the top 10 closest one of them has died. Like, there's a real good shot he goes into that quicksand and they can't get him out, and they have to just tell the cops later that there's a body in this.
We all tried to stop him, officer.
Yeah, we were fucking around.
We cut the trapper slapping him on the ass. Get in there, bud. Come on, get in there. Get in there, mud. Get dirty. So moving on to the Cherokee Devil episode. The Sulkaloo, who can read your thoughts, is what Jeff says. And Trapper and Buck both go, no, Jeff, fucking idiot. But Jeff wins one.
Unless I'm missing something, they totally edited out any mentions of the Cherokee child being Bigfoot's bride. They keep calling her the little girl, but the part where they explained, well, the little girl was married in a child marriage to Bigfoot, and she did not survive that marriage past childhood.
Great choice.
It's just the little Indian girls, all he says. So they kind of have carefully omitted that part of the lore. Even though Buck will happily bring it back in upcoming episodes, I am certain this is his life's work.
Just like Huckleberry, he's there like you're gathering around the family. Come on, they're gonna play the part where I say it's a little girl married to Bigfoot. Oh, they're not gonna play. That's okay, Daddy. We know you said it. You shouldn't have said it, but we know you did.
It kind of opens problematically because like they meet a woman in the woods whose story is that Bigfoot mind controlled me and I blacked out. A woman in a great hat, I should say, a fantastic hat, tells them that she blacked out and woke up 7 miles away. And it's like, so now they have to decide if her story is, Bigfoot mind control or Coors Light, Same thing we all ask ourselves.
It can be both.
Several times a month.
Bigfoot roofied me.
It's true.
Bigfoot roofied
Jeff,
me. It's not okay.
Jason, you saw this hat a different time. This was something you posted in Slack.
The first witness in the Phantom of the Forest episode is wearing. Now, I'm not saying it's the exact hat. I'm saying it is the exact model of hat. It is the whatever you call that kind of hat.
I bought this hat.
It's like
after
a camo
you made
fatigue hat, something like that.
This was $6 on Amazon.
The Amazon team has a trash bag full of hats they distribute to witnesses. Because that's in two separate states. It's not from the same incident. This is two. One's the North Carolina and the other one's in West Virginia. But if you look at this witness, the first Cherokee Devil witness, she is not dressed for outdoor stuff at all. She just has this camel cap stuck on her, and she's wearing like earrings and is like dressed to go out shopping. So it 100% looks like they got her on camera and said, "Nah, she needs something that makes her look woods person." Yeah. Like, here,
grab out of the hat bag.
Like I know we just walked 5 feet away from the highway to film this, but the people can't. We got to try something. Put a hat on her. I don't know.
You uncovered quite a scandal. Like, we kind of saw it coming, too. We're like, we got to go through all these someday and see if they reuse these hats. And you fucking found it.
We have to allow for the possibility that she was watching Mountain Monsters and saw that hat and went, that fucking kicks ass.
That's true.
I'm going to go hunt that down. I'm going to
go
pump,
other
and it's going to bring up a little sponsored thing to buy the hat that you see here.
Call me a conspiracy theorist. I adhere to the hat bag theory. And I understand there are other possibilities.
It's probably a bag of hats.
And this is, of course, the episode where I know we've had to cover this so many times, including before we even had BIGFEETS, where Huckleberry gets possessed and winds up nude fighting a totem pole. Again, that scene hits much, much harder. If you imagine the rogue team watching all of this unfold from their van with their high tech, all covered in screens, all their high tech equipment that's hacking all of the data streams for this team and tracking their movements. And they've got microchips they implanted under their skin while they slept so they can be tracked everywhere. And it's like this meter showing the heartbeat monitors like in Aliens, where it's like, what's going on with Huckleberry? He's showing his signs are all over the place, and they watch as he just appears nude and starts fighting that souvenir shop totem pole, and the other team has to tackle him into the water and to break him out of it.
They're like, these guys are the best.
There's a reason they're the best.
I like how Huckleberry stays. I think I mentioned this in the first episode that he stayed naked for the video testimonial. Like, he's like, the Bigfoot mind controlled me. He's still fully nude.
Fully nude, yeah.
I like that But this is one of those things where I'm glad we revisited it with like my current knowledge that I have having watched all the series, because I did not appreciate how hurtful this truly was for Huckleberry, whose origin story is that he was molested by a Bigfoot. That comes later. So then now rewatching it, I realized, oh my god, this is his worst fear. He's reliving it again. It's strange he didn't mention that. After this experience. It's strange he just got kind of giggly and thought it was a good old time getting naked and wrestling with the boys. But that's because he's a trooper.
Yeah.
He's a
Buck
champ.
cried. Buck didn't take it so well. When he got psychically befuddled by Bigfoot, he really got shaken up.
So these were their 5 best Bigfoot hunts, huh?
They nailed it.
Can I just relive one little moment? And that's when they come into the clearing and they all see Huckleberry holding the totem pole, like raving mad, just looking like a titan. and Trapper just goes, "Get him." And they all charge. Just a soft little I always knew this was coming.
Yep.
Get him. Still fucking cracks me up.
They were waiting for it. I looked up the Cherokee word that the ghost girl whispered to Buck, and I got something completely different from last time. This time I looked it up and I got, where is it in my notes? My name is Young Animal is what Google thinks Adanaste means. And I remember getting something completely different last time. I don't think... Google is getting worse, but I also think the Cherokee to English dictionary online is a little flaky.
Buck thinks it means peace, and he thinks that's how you stop a Bigfoot, is you tell it, hey, no.
No, he thought it meant leave.
Leave, that's right.
Yeah.
He thinks it means leave, and you just have to say it. You just have to say it to a Bigfoot.
Like, whoa, shit, I don't know. Like, you got the duo. I didn't know you did ghost Duolingo.
I've always prided myself on knowing when I'm not wanted, and I didn't realize that, and I am sorry. As a Bigfoot, I will have to.
Yes, as a mind control Bigfoot, I'm very concerned with consent. Fucking nightmare of a show. What a 10 out of 10 episode.
Are we doing best quote of these episodes, or did you pick out?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna pick the time Wild Bill said, "Check out the ham on that."
That's in response to seeing the photo of the Hogzilla, right?
Yeah. Check out the ham on that. How about Sean?
I will give you 3 hints. Splinter in a working man's mouth.
All right, Jason?
Well, since these 2 episodes basically summed up the entire series up to this point, I think we also got the quote of the entire series up to this point that summarizes everything about their approach, which is Wild Bill saying, "As far as I'm concerned, he can have that cave."
Yeah. Put it in the Smithsonian.
One alternate for Wild Bill was, there he goes, straight over, just flying like a horse.
Well, this one also had Wild Bill's, "Come get you some of this, right in the face."
Come get you some.
When
right
talking to the resurrected spirits of Cherokee that were killed on the Trail of Tears.
I know you had her off with the Trail of Tears, but now I'm going to give it to you in your face.
Because you had to be a Bigfoot feature, you had to open up your mouth. You had to be a big